Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, based on time zone you're in. And welcome to this announcement, GMAT Online announcement. Can you guys hear me clearly? Just answer yes or no. I have YouTube open right next to me, so I can see. So the question is, can you guys hear me clearly? All right, let's get a few more responses. Perfect. Thank you, Anshul, for that. So my name is Rajas Dana. For those of you who don't know me, I'm one of the co-founders of e-GMAT, and I'm going to be your main host today. In many ways, this was a big day for us. This is a major product announcement. In many ways, this is also a continuation with regards to, this is not something that we just started doing. This is something that we've been doing for about 10 years since we launched e-GMAT. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to walk you through where we are going and what is it that we are announcing. But to really put that in context, I think it's really important to understand where we are coming from. So I'm going to divide this presentation into kind of three phases, and I'm going to try and finish each of these three phases, so all of them in about 40 minutes or so. So I'm going to talk about where we started from. What was the inception? What was the vision for e-GMAT when we started? And we call the phase one of e-GMAT to be the phase from 2010 to 2018. And then we're going to talk about the current phase of e-GMAT, which is, started in sometime in August of 2018, and it's probably going to continue till end of 2021. And then we're going to really, as we do that, we're going to talk about GMAT Online 360. What is it? What are we announcing today? And we're going to answer all your questions with regards to who can access it, and then if there's someone who cannot, why, and so on and so forth. And we'll also do a brief demo of GMAT Online 360 overall. So just to really understand where we started from. So e-GMAT started as an experiment. Payal, Abhi, and I, three of us, we started this journey, and our vision really was to say, can we make an online course more effective than a classroom course? That was kind of our North Star. We said, hey, we have an online format, and remember, this is 2010. The online format was still in infancy. There were probably 2 or 3 test prep companies that offered an online course. We were amongst the first 2. Probably Magoosh was the other one, and there was a third one called GMAT that offered a self-paced online course without live instruction. And we said, can we make a self-paced online course more effective than an actual classroom course? And if you look at a few metrics since then, you would really agree with an overwhelming yes, that has been the case. And when we look at metrics, we look at 4 metrics that are out there. One is the number of reviews. The second is the number of success stories. The third is when you look at the number of debriefs that you see on GMAT, on our YouTube channel. Why? Because if you have success, if you have students who are passionate about you, they should be willing to really give you interviews and help and allow you to post those interviews on the YouTube channel. And the fourth metric, just give me 1 second. It seems my screen sharing went away. Let me just share my screen once again. And the fourth metric for success is going to be, how your instructors are rated, if you have instructor rating on GMAT Club. So when you look at each of these metrics, let's start with the number of reviews, and you see the number of reviews for each GMAT versus that for other prep companies. You're going to really see way more reviews. I think this number right now is closer to 1950. Now, what a lot of people don't recognize is
hide. StreamYard.com, hide. Can you just hide that?
Yes.
Thank you.
What a lot of people don't recognize, thank you, Pal, is that how difficult it is to post these reviews on GMAT Club. So can anyone know can anyone tell me how can you post this review on GMAT Club? What does it take to post a review on GMAT Club? To do that, you essentially have to verify your review through the GMAT. So essentially, it's the same process that you go through to send your scores to a business school is what you need to do to post a review on GMAT Club. You either need to provide a link to your official score report, which is through the GMAT, Or if you've taken the online GMAT, on which you don't get the link, you need to provide your account details so that someone from GMAT Club can log in and verify your score. So you provide your MBA.com details. So it's extremely difficult. It's an extremely laborious process to post reviews on GMAT Club. So a lot of people know about reviews because they're very well aggregated, but what people don't recognize is the number of success stories. So if you go to GMAT Club Share GMAT Experience Forum, click on the tag e-GMAT, and click on any other tag, you can see the number of success stories in which students credit test prep companies for their success, or in some cases failure, but primarily success. And again, you see a very similar comparison over there. You have e-GMAT, you have Magoosh, and then you have a few other companies over there. And similarly, when you look at the number of video debriefs, now not every company posts video debrief on the YouTube channel, but some do. And when you look at the comparison over there, again, we have about 90, and this 90 is about a third of all the video debriefs that we have in our repository. So, and then the last piece is with regards to instructors over here. And even though we stopped offering GMAT Live Prep more than a year back, 4 out of GMAT Club's top 5 rated instructors still belong to e-GMAT. It just shows the love that our students have had. Now, these are metrics, these are results, but these results did not happen by themselves. They were a result, an outcome of a journey of a lot of firsts, which allowed us to help our students succeed. And you look at what were those firsts in over this 10-year journey. You can really see some of these over here. And starting with the focus on teaching you methods. And this started, I mean, there's nothing else that actually tells us more emphatically than focusing on meaning in SC. 2010, when we launched, meaning was actually unknown when it came to GMAT's intense correction. It was there. The GMAT had put it in the questions that they're embedded in OG 2011, which is kind of when the transition towards meaning happened. But till about end of 2011, a lot of instructors were still unaware that meaning is important in GMAT SC. In 2010, our SC course already had meaning as the primary way. And just to really prove this over here, I'm going to share this discussion which happened on the GMAT. You can really get this. You can see the dates over here is October 5 and October 6. And what they're really talking about is, hey, Brian's saying that GMAT won't ask you to choose between 2 grammatically and logically correct sentences. We now know today they do ask you to do that. And again, this is by no means, I mean, I love Brian, I love Stacy, we respect them immensely. It's just that what I'm trying to really tell you is, as a DNA of an organization, we are very research focused. We study the official guide inside out. So that's one of the things, the focus on teaching you the right method to arrive at an answer. Okay. Another first that we did was back in 2013, we actually gave you, we uncovered that when it comes to your GMAT score, it's built up of individual ability scores. And we gave you a mathematical representation of those ability scores. And in 2013, we had a product called the Verbal Workshop, where you took a workshop, you got an SC ability, CR ability, and RC ability. And this was a year before the GMAT introduced the enhanced score report, where they gave you a numerical term called ability scores. But we didn't just stop there. We actually inculcated these ability scores in Scholaranium with regards to ability quizzes. Then from there on, we added them in our Sigma X mocks. And for those of you who've used our GMAT Planner, you've seen the GMAT Planner or the PSP, or Personal Study Planner, use those scores as well. The third thing, is we wanted each one of you to have a personalized study plan. And why? Because when you look at most prep companies, you get a 3-month, you get a 6-month, you get a 1-month study plan. You don't know which study plan works for you, which one's right for you. Using GMAT Planner, you can get a 15-day study plan if that is the right plan for you, to a 6-month study plan if you need that. If you don't need it, you won't get it. And essentially, there are infinite possibilities with regards to how many study plans you can get overall. And this study planner answers these 3 questions as to how much effort, where you need to put in that effort, and where you don't need to put in that effort. So once you get a plan, it also tells you about what we call as the stages of learning. And The fourth thing is this methodology of stages of learning. Depending on your ability score, should you be learning concepts? Should you be practicing questions? Should you be doing a mix of learning concepts and practicing questions? Or should you just focus on test readiness? And this is just not on just, and this is done by in each individual subsection. We can tell you what you should do overall. Okay. One other thing that you'd notice is at e-GMAT, we just take care of GMAT. We are a 43-person company, and each one of us works full time, and we just take care of the GMAT. Whereas if you compare us with other prep companies, pretty much every other prep company has at least a GRE course. Some companies such as Magoosh, have pretty much courses in every area, and they probably don't have as many people working for them full time as we do. The reason, or where do we spend our time, is one is make sure that we launch courses to help you improve. So courses such as Master Comprehension, your GMAT Roadmap. We actually revise our courses as well. Most of our major courses have gone through multiple revisions, and as we do those revisions, it makes those courses more effective. Our sentence correction course is in its third generation. Critical reasoning was completely overhauled in 2019. Another piece which is very critical to the success of our students is support. We have 20 experts who work full time to help you succeed. Has anyone written to the e-GMAT team over here? Has anyone written over here to the e-GMAT team? And if you've written, you probably know the support that you get. The other piece that we do is we collect a lot of data. When you watch a video on our portal, we collect about 35 to 40 data points per video. Overall, we collect upwards of 10,000 data points per student, and which allows us to give you those 500 plus points of individualized feedback as to what you're doing well, what you're not doing well, and that helps you succeed. Why? Because when you're not doing well, you know when you're not doing well overall. And these 20 folks are divided into our subject matter and strategy team, and the goal for this is to make sure that you succeed. One of the latest innovations that we did, which we launched about a year and a half ago, is we have a knowledge hub, which is where once you're done with your GMAT, you want to go about doing your applying to B school. We have actually one of the most popular blogs on that. If you look at the GMAT and MBA blogs and you aggregate stuff by traffic, it's a number 4 blog in that space. And within a year, we hope to be in the top 2 blogs in this space overall. So if you go to egmat.com/blogs, this is something where we have 3 people who work full time. This is just a service that we provide to everyone, and over them. So what I'm trying to tell you is all of this didn't come by accident. It is an outcome. The success is an outcome of, or your success is an outcome of a conscious effort that has been going on. So let's come back to this late 2018, which is when we had this introspection. We said, hey, we've already proven this. We've been more successful than any other classroom course. The student success tells a story. So where do we go from now? Okay. So which is when we started this vision for the next phase of e-GMAT, and this is somewhere around mid to Q3 of 2018. And the goal really was to be more effective than what a private tutor can be. And this was a big challenge. Think about it. A private tutor charges you $300 an hour in the US, or about, if you're a good private tutor in India, would charge you about 6,000 rupees an hour. So those of you who are saying a 25,000 rupee course was expensive, try paying 6,000 rupees an hour over there. Okay. And so we said, okay, what is it that the private tutor does that we do just as well? What is it that the private tutor does that we don't do as well? Why? Because that's kind of where, when we had our North Star shifted, we had to figure out where do we need to improve, and where is it that we're doing just as well or better. So even in 2018, there were a few things that we did better than a private tutor, which was, we offered more content and you spend more time with us. We gave you better feedback, and we were much more consistent with regards to the questions and solutions that we provided. Let's kind of go over here. When you work with a private tutor, probably most of you spend about 30 hours with it. When you work with us, most of our students spend about 100 hours. Some of them even spend about 200 hours with us. A private tutor, consequently, would give you about 30 feedback about 30 times, and whereas we give you feedback at least 250 times, and even more if you, depending on how much course you use. When you work with a private tutor, they will give you good solutions, but those solutions would be inconsistent. Why? Because your interaction is more dynamic. Every solution on the e-GMAT portal uses the same process that we teach you to solve questions. Why? Because that process is an outcome of the research that we've done. So on these three metrics, we felt we were way better than a private tutor, but there were areas where we weren't as good. Okay, and remember, this is late 2018. Okay. One thing that a private tutor does really well is if you go interact with a private tutor, spend a couple of hours, take a diagnostic, analyze that diagnostic, a private tutor will tell you, a fairly good estimate. And when I say a fairly good estimate, I'd say it'll tell you within 20% how much time you need to prepare for the test. And it'll tell, and a private tutor will also tell you where do you need to spend that time. Now, it will cost you about $500 in the US or about 15,000 rupees in India, but those estimates would be really good. And in 2018, we did not do that. Okay. The second thing that a private tutor does better for a segment of students, and this is something that came out of a lot of research that we did, was that there is a segment of students who, while they're willing to learn, they don't learn as well from a course teaching them, where learning comes more naturally when they interact with a human. And this is only for a segment. There's a segment of students and a fairly big segment that does just as well learning from a course. But there is this other significant segment that also existed where he said, hey, I need a person teaching me. Why? Because learning something new is difficult. And I have this natural tendency to, for example, when I go to sentence correction, I'll go towards splits. I have this natural tendency when I go to the number properties question, I start solving questions. Adopting new methods is hard. And does anyone over here feel, that sometimes they cease from a real instructor and they feel it's easier to learn. And so I said, this is something that a private tutor does better. Why? Because there's this one-on-one interaction. So the human, it's a lot more dynamic over there. And as technology, we've not reached there. A third thing that a private tutor did really well was, while they were teaching, they were able to tell you, and this is something that only 20% of the private tutors do, and only the best of the best do. While you are learning from them, during the first 30, 40 hours of effort, they're able to tell you, are you going to succeed, or are you moving in the right direction? Okay. And so this is, again, only 20%. Why do the other 80% not tell you? A, probably they don't have the capability. B, imagine you're starting with a private tutor, you're spending $200 an hour or $300 an hour, $300 an hour when I say bucks, and 5 hours into it, they tell you you're not going to succeed. What are you going to do? You're going to go to another tutor. But those 20% who do it, they're not worried about that. And those are what I call as really good private tutors. And they can tell you within a few hours, are you going to succeed? Okay. So we had our task cut out for us. We said, hey, to be better than a private tutor, you've got to do these three things. We've got to give you accurate estimates. We've got to help predict your success within the first 30 hours. And we've got to teach you methods with a more human-like interaction over there. Why? Because there is this segment of students that learn better that way. Okay. So the first thing we did was we created a personal study planner, a PSP, or what we call as GMAT planner, which uses your ability scores to predict, to tell you how much time you need, where do you need to put in that time, and how should you study. Now, we needed those ability scores, and unfortunately, MBA.com had deducted the GMAT prep mocks with regards to the official and swapped them with official GMAT mocks. And which means that we had to create a product that gave you your ability scores. That led to creation of Sigma X mocks, which not only are they the most accurate mocks in the industry, they're the only mocks in the industry that give you your ESR plus analysis. And using this, upwards of 15,000 plans have been created or modified. So our students not just create the plan when they start, they sometimes, things don't pan out. You get busy with work. It allows them to come back and recreate a plan, and then have a clear idea of where what effort they need to put in, where they need to put in that effort, and essentially plan their preparation better. Why? Because that's really important over there. And if you go to our YouTube channel, some of you were talking about watching success stories on our YouTube channel, you can watch a few of these success stories, see how these guys created their plans, how they not just created their plans, but they also hit those plans right on cue. So if they said they want to take the test on 31st of July, they actually took within 3 or 4 days of that. And in the Hasib and Garima, just 3 of many examples that you can see. In fact, if you go over there, you can also see their score stats, which predict success. Okay. The second thing was, how do we predict success and failure in a scalable fashion? Now, remember, this is not just success, this is failure as well. Why? Because a model that predicts success should also predict failure. And the beauty of predicting failure is we can course correct. And for those of you who've written to our customer success team, or have talked to Ashutosh, Nava, DJ, or Deepak, or Archit, you guys know they do course correction, and they tell you you're going to fail. And this was, again, it allowed us to go back to our roots. So we say, what is a GMAT test? And we know GMAT test ability. So essentially, if you can figure out how likely are you going to hit this ability score, and we can aggregate that information, create what we call as a joint ability model, or joint probability model of you hitting those abilities, we can create a probability of success, and then we can do course correction. So how do we predict success while you're learning? We track your data over here, and because we have so much student success, we can look at what numbers lead to what. So this is where a lot of machine learning comes in, and this is where the feedback comes in. For those of you who gone through our courses, you see that feedback come to you, not just right at the end of the concept file or an application file or a practice file, but also through emails. As when you do things well, we congratulate you. When you don't do things well, we also tell you, hey, here's how you need to do course correction. But there was another thing that we found. We said, hey, doing just through a system is not enough. Why? Because as humans, we don't like to listen to machines. It's just who we are as humans. We like to listen to humans, but not machines. And again, just remember, this is a time of flight model, which is while you are studying, this tells you. This is not when you're taking mocks, not when you're practicing questions, which is while you're learning concepts. This is telling you all of that. So we created a team of individuals, and these are all the individuals who give you feedback. If you come to us, if you write to us, they'll analyze your course and tell you whether you're moving in the right direction. What should you do? What should you do next? Okay. And here's some example. These are your responses. How many of you over here have received that annoying survey which really says how satisfied are you with the response that you received? Some of you really say, man, you're asking me this question too many times. How many of you have received that survey? All of these responses are in response to this. Now, when you build something scalable, getting that feedback is really important. So I urge all of you to, I know about 50% of you provide us feedback. We get about 1,000 data points over there, and so we get more data. The more data we get, the better we can be. Why? Because when you tell us we are doing well, we can really look at why we did well. When you tell us we're not doing well, which about 8 to 9% of you do tell us we are not doing well, we'll look at that and we improve. Okay. The other piece which was there was to say, okay, we give you this feedback, but how can we help you hit peak performance? Which is, how can we help you get to the point where some of you are satisfied with a score of 720, 730, and so on and so forth. But how can we get to the point where we can help you hit 750? And which is where the model is very important. Why? Because when we see your metrics internally and we see what scores have people who've hit the similar set of metrics achieved, we can tell you, hey, Abhijit, hey, Gary, just spend and improve this area. And I think from a 730, you can get to 750. And that's something that we've been doing quite a bit For many of you, if you look at many of the success stories, such as Jim's success story and a few of the others, if you look at reviews on GMAT Club, what you're going to really see is there were students who were satisfied with the 730. And one of our strategy counselors, worked with them to really say, no, don't be, take the test again. You can hit a 750 or a 760. And again, go read some of those reviews over here. And this is a guy who was actually satisfied with a 690. He improved to a 740, was able to get into Columbia. Valentine, for example, Archit worked with him to create a roadmap and then tell him this is what you need to do if you want to get to that 760 score. And you can read his debrief on GMAT Club. Okay, and this is not just a few instances. We get this entire team of customer success. They deal with upwards of 3,000 emails every month, which means they spend about 1,000 hours doing this. And there's this thing called CSAT score, and while doing this, we measure this score, and as we measure this score, our CSAT score always hovers around that 81, 82, 83% overall. And if you compare this to best in class, what does this 83% mean? It means upwards of 80% of our students are satisfied with what we're doing. It's just the outcome of survey. So if you Google how do you calculate CSAT score, you can really do that. This CSAT score mirrors that of Samsung and Apple, by the way. So Samsung has a CSAT score of 81% based on what they released in May of 2020. Apple CSAT score of 82% or so. But that's not the only form of support that we provide. We also provide subject matter support over here. And here's some feedback on our SME team that you get. Again, let's say it's really important for you to give feedback, constructive as well as critical. Why? Because it helps us improve. And again, the SME team also addresses about 3,000 doubts every month. So a lot of people think that an online course offering is a bunch of videos. No, it's not a bunch of videos, at least not at e-GMAT. It is those videos, but those videos have methodologies. Those videos capture data based on which you get feedback. There's all of these services that come with it. And so, for example, our subject matters spend about 800 hours every month doing this. And just to really tell you how much this 3,000 subject matter doubts are, these are individually responded SM doubts. If you look at all the 11 companies on GMAT Club, if you look at the number of subject matter responses they do, this is probably still 4x as many. All of 11 companies on GMAT Club. So one thing which is very clear is, if you had to be better than a private tutor, it's not just about products; it's about products and services, and you can really see the services. And some of these services so this didn't all happen by itself. It led to a ton of. It happened because it was an outcome of a deliberate effort with regards to where we hired a lot of these people in December, January of this year. We trained them, and then we've been offering these services since then. And you can see the products over here. I've talked about some of these products over here, but there are these products and other enhancements that we keep on doing, which you see them when they happen, but there's otherwise there'll be too many things to talk about. Now, one of the other things the question that we had was, remember, there were three things that private tutor did better: help you plan better, predicted your success or failure, and the third thing was he actually there was a real person teaching you. For that segment of students who needed a real person to teach them, that is something that a private tutor did do. So we still had this question: how do we help that segment of students over here who need their learning to be augmented by instructors? And again, a private tutor doesn't teach you everything, only the major concepts. Again, the idea really is to get you started on the right path. These are the three things, and this is what we attack next. So, which is where the big thing that we are announcing today, which is Live Sessions 360, which is something which you can get with GMAT, or which you get with GMAT Online 360. So what was the goal for Live Sessions 360? It was A, to make learning easier. Why? Acing the GMAT is about learning new things. Learning new things is challenging. Second thing was to ensure, you build the foundation, but you still have to follow the right methods. So you ensure that you follow those right methods while solving questions. When we analyze the success and failure, the single biggest factor that we see is methods. People who follow the right methods succeed. People who don't follow the right methods fail. And the third piece was they should also help you hit that peak performance. Again, we had this GMAT strategy team that could interact with you and tell you, okay, you had a 720, here's how you can get to a 740. But why should you stop at a 720 in the first place? Why don't we teach you this in a scalable fashion so that you can hit that 740, 750 score? So these were the three things. So to do these three things, live sessions had to help you build that foundation, help you teach the most challenging concepts. Why? Because the online course does do a great job of doing that, but there are some concepts where that segment of student needs a live instructor. But then they have to go beyond and do test readiness. Now, this is how, so we created this, and just to really tell you, this is how a live session course, live sessions are integrated with our course. So let's talk about an SC course. If you want to do sentence correction right from the very beginning till the end, this is how you'd go. You do master comprehension on the first day. You'll go through the subject, verb, pronouns, and verb modules. And then if you're using the e-GMAT course, it'll take you about 4 to 5 days. Again, this is assuming you're working full time, you're spending about 90 minutes a day studying. Then you do modifiers, and depending on, again, this is a 20 percentile student who's going to do this. It's going to take about 5 days doing modifiers, spending about 90 minutes a day. Then once you're done with modifiers, parallelism, comparison, and idioms will take another 5 days, and so on and so forth. Okay. Now, you can look at this as a linear flow. We don't look at this as a linear flow. We actually look at this as 3 different sets of things. Building a foundation, which is where you do. Learning the most important concepts. And then when you do this, we call this test readiness. And when we design live sessions, they were designed with this over here, with this in mind. So remember, building a foundation, we actually built injected live sessions over here, where after master comprehension, you go through 2 live sessions where we help you understand all aspects of meaning, help you infer meaning where meaning is not clear. Then we have 2 live sessions over here. The goal really is, once you have the right foundation, you want to make sure you solve questions only using the right methods, which is what these enforcement sessions do. And they are on subject verb and verb tenses and pronouns over here. Then there are certain complex concepts in sentence correction, in modifiers, parallelism, and comparison, and you have sessions for all of them. Again, the idea really is you continue following the right methods, and you get, people have doubts around modifiers. When we say we solve about 3,000 forum posts, if you organize them by concepts, this accounts for the biggest chunk of forum posts that we get. So we want to make sure that we address those doubts over there. We also wanted to achieve test readiness. So we embedded 2 workshops within there. So overall, when you look at it, there are 10 sessions on sentence correction. Okay. And these workshops help you do strategic review. These workshops evaluate where you are. These workshops tell you where you're faltering. Again, this is an additional piece. We already do that within our course. Every concept is evaluated. Every application file gives you feedback. Every practice file gives you feedback. These are additional pieces where you have human-generated feedback over here in this. Okay. But there was a problem with live sessions. With a private tutor, you can work pretty much on demand. I mean, say within a week of here or there. But with live sessions, you have a problem. Why? Because batches, if you do it the traditional way, they seem to start every 3 weeks, every 4 weeks, and so on and so forth. It's still not on demand overall. So we wanted to make it almost on demand over here, and which is where we said we need to have a new architecture of live sessions. We can't offer live sessions the way everyone offers live sessions. Why? Because we do not want you to do this. We want to address this. We don't want you to be constrained by batches overall, or in the literal sense, the way they are today. So here are a few things that we decided. We said we're going to offer batches for subsections. So there's the verbal batch, there's a batch for sentence correction, there's a batch for critical reasoning, there's a batch for reading comprehension. Okay. We're going to make sure that one subsection starts every week and it starts on a Monday. Okay. And then we're going to make sure that every subsection repeats every fortnight or every 2 weeks. So you'll have an SC batch starting every 2 weeks. You'll have a CR batch starting every 2 weeks. You'll have an RC batch starting every 2 weeks. Now, right now, we are only offering this for verbal. We're not doing this for quant. But for verbal, this is the architecture. And for quant, it could be this, it could be even better. But you have batches by subsection. You have a batch starting every Monday, and it only starts on a Monday, and it repeats every 2 weeks. So if you miss an SC batch, you can start it again in 2 weeks. If you miss an SC batch, you have a CR batch starting, and if you're flexible enough to learn, you can actually start CR that week. So with that, I want to really just show you a few things about, hey, you want to change batches, you shouldn't have to contact us. It should all be done on demand. So let's just see how we do this on demand, how we give you the power to select batches on demand, to enroll and unenroll yourself from batches. And to do that, I'm going to invite my co-founder Abhinav to talk about this. Abhinav, over to you. Let me actually stop my screen share, and you can go on.
Okay. Hey, Rajat. Thank you. Can you guys see and hear me? Okay, awesome. So this is Abhinav, and this is my first public appearance, and I'm going to be giving you a demo of how to use the new live sessions self sign up that we've created. Let's share my screen here. Okay. All right, so you should be able to see my screen now. I'm going to give it another 2 seconds just to make sure if it's streaming slow for somebody, everyone sees it. So when you log in, if you have purchased GMAT Online or Verbal Online, or if you already are a GMAT Online or Verbal Online customer from before, you will be given the option to experience the live sessions free for 15 days. You should see a tile like this, obviously after we go live, not right now. And you will be able to click Activate Live Sessions. You have the option to say no and do it later. You get 3 days. If you say yes, we sign you up. Once we sign you up, you have 15 days of access to the live sessions from that point on. What do you do next? You can go to the batch scheduler, and as Rajat mentioned, we've created a very flexible batch scheduler which allows you to enroll, unenroll, change batches as you please, even enroll in a batch that started a couple of days ago. So, and I'm going to show you how. What you see in front of you is your batch scheduler. Here you will see there's a couple of batches that started on the 17th of August, which was 2 days ago. So, and we have all the information right here. You can see all the sessions that go with these batches and the dates and times they happen. We've divided the live sessions into 2 slots so that if a late evening or an early evening works for you, you pick as appropriate. So if you see time slot 2 here, these batches run at 9:30 p.m. IST. All the times and dates you see on the screen are IST. So let's say you want to sign up for the RC batch that started on the 17th of August. How do you do that? You simply click on the tile. It gives you additional info about RC from 17th of August. You hit confirm enrollment, and then it just does it. And now you're signed up for RC 17th August 2020. You can again view the view the full schedule. Now you when you enroll for the batch, you will automatically start getting emails from us about the sessions and everything that happens with the batch, including things like when you should self-study, what's expected of you, and things like that. You cannot enroll for an RC batch in the same time slot. As a matter of fact, you should not enroll in an RC batch, sorry, any other batch in the same time slot, and you cannot enroll for an RC batch in another time slot. Why would you? So if you wanted to, you can enroll in a batch from another time slot. Say you want to do sentence correction batch that starts on the 31st of August. Then you just click on that, see the info about it, and hit confirm enrollment. And now you're enrolled in 2 batches in the 2 time slots. You have RC 17th of August, which started 2 days ago. You can still join it. You can go see the recordings for the session you missed for the 17th of August if you feel comfortable missing one session and still continuing. And then now that you're enrolled in 2 batches, let's say at some point in time you decide, hey, I can't keep up. I need to switch my batch. Well, you don't need to contact us. You hit change batch enrollment, unenroll from the one. Let's say, next week you decide, hey, I made a bad decision. 17th of August doesn't work for me. I was too busy studying this week. I didn't get a chance to attend any of the sessions. So you hit unenroll, and then you just pick the batch that starts, the week after. You will only be able to see batches that start in the next 14 days. So as you go into the next week, you'll start seeing batches that start the week after the 24th. That's how we have it. You'll always see 14 days ahead and 2 days back. So as Rajat mentioned, we've kept this really flexible, really simple. Once you sign up, you can add the batch to your calendar. You can choose the calendar you use, and the full batch schedule just goes to your calendar. If we change anything in the back, it will automatically update. You don't have to do anything. And we give you full flexibility and full freedom to change your batches at any point. There's no overages, no extra charges. You can do that at your will. That's what I have for the demo. Rajat, if you want to add anything, feel free to join me. And if you want me to show anything else or talk about any of the other features that I might have missed.
Yeah, so I think first of all, what do you guys think of this? I mean, this is not there in the production application. Abhi is doing this from a test application. But what do you think from the demo? This about the flexibility of doing this. But thank you, Abhi. This is I think we pretty much covered all the points, by the way. But I'd like to get feedback. Okay, game changer. It is. This is Abhi's baby. Just doing this took a lot of effort, and so I'm going to just go into actually our instructor view only, and doing this took a lot of effort overall, and countless hours to get this right. So we really like this. So. And flexibility is king, as you guys really are saying. It is everyone. We do realize everyone's in a different place in their preparation. So hence it's really important to make sure we give you guys that flexibility. With that, let me just talk about and answer your questions that you have. So what have we learned so far? You get the live sessions, you get the flexibility, you learn from the highest rated instructors, and you can see the batches are very comprehensive over there. And just to really tell you how comprehensive they are, I've just compared the offering to some of the other offerings over there, where you can see the total number of verbal sessions that we offer versus and number of GMAT strategy sessions and the pricing that they offer over there. So again, the intent that Manhattan Prep and Veritas Prep have is exclusivity. For us, that wasn't the case. For us, we want to make sure that it's available to everyone, and everyone should be able to afford it. So what do you get? So everyone who's an e-GMAT student, regardless of whether you're verbal online or a GMAT online student, you guys get 15-day access, 15 days of access free of charge. What it means is you can attend up to 10 sessions free of charge. This is something that's included with your purchase, and this will start showing up pretty soon in about a week on in your dashboard, where you can sign up for the batches. So you can also sign up for 2 batches at a time. So this 15-day full access is something that comes with it. It's full access. We don't differentiate between you and a paid member. Beyond that, if you need it, after this initial 15 days, you can sign it up for $49 a month. And again, this is no auto billing. This is you have to manually go and sign it up every time you do it. We didn't want to bill you automatically. If you need it, you buy it. If you don't need it, you don't buy it. So again, the idea really is we want to make sure, and there were a few people who were saying the course is very expensive. For us, first of all, when you compare it to some of the other courses that are there, it's very cheap if you look at the value that it offers. For us, we've always been a very high value provider, and which is kind of where our position has always been with live sessions, which is if you need it, you pay a small amount for it. Now, how much do you pay? It's less than $2 per session, by the way, that you pay. If you don't need it, you don't buy it, and which is where we also give you the opportunity to experience these sessions. Okay. The other way to think about value is, hey, a 750 score gives you $40,000 to $50,000 worth of scholarship. e-GMAT annually get about $40 million worth of scholarship. Think about what that admission, what that scholarship is worth to you. Then look at which all companies provide that kind of support, which all companies have 43 people working full-time helping you succeed. You're not going to find very many. So you'll start seeing this come up on your platform on 26th of August. The first session will start from 31st, which is a Monday. It's going to be with sentence correction overall. With that, just to really tell you, I want to reiterate, when you look at us versus other prep companies, make sure that you don't compare videos, by the way, which ours are way more impactful, but you look at all of these other things that come along with GMAT Online 360, not just the comprehensiveness, which, but also the support, the fact that we can predict your success or failures, the fact that we give you these personalized study plans, and you can do them again and again and again. The fact that every solution we give you comes from has a very consistent feedback method to it, and the feedback that the platform provides to you, building the technology. So when you think about this, we spend about $1.5 million every year to build technology and content. That investment goes in improving your success rate over here. And now the flexibility to add live sessions to this. With that, we want to thank everyone for being here. It's been an honor to serve you guys and to help you succeed. Your emails make our day, so continue writing to us, and yeah. I want to thank you guys for this. At this point, I can take any questions that is there. So questions, so you buy Verbal Online or GMAT Online, and you can add on the live sessions for $49 a month overall. So that is what the add-on is. In a discounted price, no. I think you're talking about 30 sessions for $49, man. If you think they're not worth it, then I think this is something which you should really evaluate how you're valuing things. Just to really tell you, when you go to a business school, you'd be sitting in a class of 60, you'd be paying about $80 per hour. So each of those 60 of you, actually as a class, you pay about $5,000 an hour in a business school, which is what you strive to do. Every batch is 4 weeks. So it's about 3 weeks and 3 days or so. Every batch is 4 weeks long. Again, this is designed designed from a standpoint of of someone who's starting from a 20th percentile and wants to hit that 90th percentile. Now you get recordings to all the sessions, which means you can do it in an accelerated format. You don't need to attend all the sessions. For you, the key thing which is there is what makes sense for you, and which is where the fact that you get feedback from every entity. So in sentence correction, for example, if you're doing really well in modifiers, if you're hitting upwards of 80 to 90% and you feel, okay, you don't need to attend the session, you don't need to attend the session. But if in comparison you feel, okay, these things are not as clear, you have the flexibility to attend the session. This offering is only available to people who are currently enrolled. If you're not enrolled, you can't get to these. No. This is the same question people ask about Scholarium, Sigma X mocks, and it's just everything's very integrated, guys. I mean, you attend these sessions, you say, okay, am I likely to succeed? I have no other data point in addition to what we captured during the session to tell you. And I don't want to tell you something that on which I'm not 95, where my confidence interval is not 95% or higher. So because of this, we said we're not going to sell individual products. We're going to sell a complete package where we can capture this data, using which we can predict your success. Okay, Nirav says that's a great question. He says, how can working professionals who are in the US take advantage of that? So right now, live sessions take place in at about 7:30 and 9:30. So given the COVID situation, you all are working from home. I think they can make it work. Now these sessions are not 3 hours long or 2 hours long. They're designed to be 90 minutes long. The idea really is that we teach you something that's really intense, and they're completely integrated, which means when you come into the session, you already have a foundation coming into the session. So the idea is to really start learning right away. So these are 90-minute intense learning sessions overall. So after that, you get about 30 minutes to revise as well during this. So I think most people, regardless of the time zone they are in, assuming it's not 2 a.m. their time, can take those 90 minutes out. Janesh says, within 10 days, can I see all the videos of the package? You probably will be able to see, yes, but the question is, would you benefit from them? I think, again, remember, acing the GMAT is not about seeing a ton of content. Acing the GMAT is about internalizing that content. It's about being able to apply. Ashal says, are instructors going to teach the same content what's already on the e-GMAT format? Yes, we are. Is it going to be the same content? Yes, I mean, modifiers are modifiers, right? We cover everything in our online course. That's why we have this fantastic success. This is about learning. This is about that segment of students who need those live sessions, or segment of students who really say, okay, I'm learning this and I have these doubts, or I'm learning this, but my brain's not letting me think the way e-GMAT wants me to think. And there is a segment of student that does that. And for them, working with an instructor turns out to be more effective. I mean, in the same way, I can, an MBA costs you 130 grand. I can pretty much give you all the case studies and all the books for less than 10 grand or so. Why do you go for that 120, 130 or 150 grand MBA? It's the interaction with the instructors, the what if scenarios. How can you correct an incorrect answer choice? Doing all of that is something where you need a trained instructor. So the other question that I see is, my course is expiring. If I extend my course, will I be eligible? So yes, if you extend your course, if you have an active subscription, you can get those 15 days, and then of course you can buy the $49 per month after that. Yes. So again, once you extend the course, we don't really see you as an extension. We see you as a student who's an active student. So yes, you'd be able to get that. How many months of 360 is required for 20% verbal? It just depends on how many hours you put in. So connect with one of our counselors, and they can help you do that. So you can connect with us you can write to me at rajat@gmail.com. If you've written a Sigma X mock, we can precisely tell you where you need to put in the effort, how many months you need, and so on and so forth. Mohit has an excellent question. What about students who've already completed? So one of the things that you probably know is everything that we do goes through an alpha beta trial. So these live sessions have also gone through an alpha and beta trial, and we've had students who've experienced these live sessions, and some of those students have already done that. From the feedback that we've gotten from those students, even when they've already experienced these live sessions, what they have found them is that the fact that they attend these, just so you don't need to do the prerequisites, but merely attending these live sessions helps take their understanding to that next level. Can you extend the 6-month course to more days? So Shubham, you can technically, but hey, if you're going to take the GMAT 10 months down the line, let's say, and if you're not going to study for 4 months, you don't just let us know which 4 months you don't want to study. We'll pause your subscription. You don't have to extend. We'll freeze it. Why do we not have AWA? It's just we haven't had that much demand actually. If we get demand, we'll build it. We've had students who teach AWA to others, but we haven't had as much demand, especially when people go through our CR course, they don't feel the need. But yeah, if there is a need, we will. Oh, we have IR, we have the world's most comprehensive integrated reasoning course, Jatin. So So the other piece, which I think I forgot to mention, is it's the 360 piece. Means it starts from the very foundation. It's not the foundation where we're teaching you what's a noun, what's a premise, or so on and so forth. But it's the foundation that you guys lack, which is okay. You see a sentence. How do you infer its meaning? If the meaning doesn't sound logical, what are those cases in which the meaning doesn't sound logical? That's the foundation piece. The method piece is where, hey, you see this complex question, you tend to go towards answer choices to figure out which one sounds correct. How can you not do that? Come back and really break the sentence down. Figure out what are the errors, so that once you have that list of errors, how can you correct that? And yes, this may sound like an e-GMAT course, but again, with an instructor teaching you, it's a lot more effective for that segment of students. What about quant course? What do you want to know about quant course? Uh, Shivangi says, will our sessions be saved regardless of whether we subscribe to further months or not, or will individual doubts be taken? So Shivangi, the sessions, as long as you have access to live sessions offering, you'll be able to access the recording. The moment your access goes away, the recordings also go away. Number one, individual doubts. You take individual doubts on forums. We take individual doubts on sessions. I mean, and yes, so your individual doubts will be taken. The only case, and again, remember, uh, is if the class doesn't want to do this, again, remember, this is still a live session, then in that case we won't. But if you look at, so a year and a half back when we had a live sessions offering, we would ask students to rate our instructors. We will still do that. We will still get feedback. The way we ask you guys to rate the support that you get on doubts. And so these instructors are compensated based on your feedback, and which is kind of the difference between us and what Manhattan Prep and Veritas Prep and a few other places do. There, pretty much all the instructors work part-time. They are not employed full-time by Manhattan Prep or Veritas Prep, and which means only 10 to 15% at the most of their earnings come from this. Over here, the instructors that we have, they work full-time for us. Their livelihood depends on your success. Where can you find complete details? You'll start seeing this on the website in about a week or so. In the free trial, what's the difference between 10 sessions and 2 batches? The batches happen. Okay. let me just make sure I understand the question properly. Are the sessions available 27? Yeah, the recordings are available 24/7. Let me just look at this. There is no, okay, so you're saying in the 15 days, what's the difference between the 10 sessions and the 2 batches included? There is no difference. It's 15 days of full access. If a session is happening at that time, you can enroll in it. We don't differentiate between you and someone who was paid. Okay, it's 15 days of full access. What is the tentative date of start of Quant Online? We don't have. I can't give you a tentative date. But I can tell you is that we are working on a major overhaul. Payal, if you can share the blog post that talks about the overhaul of the quant course, that's something which would be great. Sanjeev, yes, you won't be able to talk to me. I mean, remember this. I have responsibilities, but you'd be able to talk to someone who's been trained by me in the e-GMAT team, someone who spent months training and be able to give you way better advice than I would, because they will dedicate way more time than I can. So, which is where we have these dedicated teams. So yeah, I mean, yeah, it's going to be very difficult. I mean, for anyone to talk to Payal or I. There's a reason why Payal is not doing this presentation. I mean, we work in the back to build these products. And when you think about designing these live sessions, we spend time designing these live sessions with the SMEs overall. If you've these sessions in the past have been the ones that we've been doing in our alpha trials, which is what live session 360 would be. They've been conducted not by Rajat and Payal, because Rajat and Payal have been doing sessions for a very long time. They've been conducted by Harsha. They've been conducted by Stacy. They've been conducted by Shraddha, the SMEs who are responding to your doubts. And trust me, the feedback that they've gotten is way better than the feedback that we've gotten. Why? Because they only focus on improving their live sessions. Anshul, I love how you're talking the e-GMAT lingo. He says, I have a GMAT score of 670. I've gone through the SC stage 3 and blah, 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 blah. Will live sessions be helpful? Again, Anshul, it just depends on your individual case. Where do you need help? I think because you're talking this lingo, you already know where you need help. You already know the metrics in Scholaranium and on Sigmax mocks that you need to hit. So where you need help, if live sessions would be in those areas, live sessions would be able to help you. For example, in sentence correction, if you're at 70th percentile, and if comparisons are the ones that are pulling your score down, and then the comparison live session will help you. Does that make sense, Anshul? But if on CR you're already at 90th percentile, why would you attend CR flip sessions? You probably would attend workshops, but not the other ones. Again, that's the beauty of this, where you know where you need help, and accordingly you can choose. All right, guys, if there are no other questions, then I would like to thank you guys for joining me. This has been a dream to start these live sessions, and we appreciate you being there. Also, let us know if you like this. If you like this announcement by clicking on the like, or if you don't like it, click on the dislike. That's all right. We seek feedback either way. Srikanth says, what's the advantage to already registered members? If you like learning from an instructor, it's a huge advantage. You would learn better. If you don't like learning with an instructor, you already have the world's best course to help you succeed. So it depends on who you are. And this video will be available on YouTube, yes. All right. So with that, thank you very much. And I look forward to seeing you on e-GMAT.com.